Yeah, mental health has been kind of, in a weird way, one of the biggest blessings that God has given our family, because it's been proof of his faithfulness. My mom growing up, she had a lot of mental health struggles. She had something called dissociative identity disorder, which is like multiple personalities and that sort of thing. And she was suicidal, and she had just a lot of struggles with that. But seeing her find healing through that journey and watching her every day finding peace and using her faith to find that peace has been like the greatest blessing in my life. It's such a huge part of my own faith journey. I even remember there was this moment she told me about when she was in therapy, and this is years and years into therapy for her. And it was toward the end of a session, and our counselor was praying over her. And she said, for the first time since she was a teenager, the only voice she could hear in her head were her own thoughts.
Wow.
And that was a moment of healing for her. And it's honestly, it's been a lifelong journey for our whole family. But that was a catalyst for her to be able to use her faith to just continue the layers and layers and layers that are needed in order to heal a family from something like that. And I just remember when I started to face my own issues, because I had something growing up as well. My way of kind of coping with all that was I had selective mutism, which I would describe it like I had a stopper in my throat. I would try to say something and I just physically could not speak. And even to this day, sometimes when I get really anxious or really nervous, I'll feel that same sort of stopper come back. But I remember growing up and watching her every day fight for peace and fight for her own health. And she would sit there with her Bible and her cup of coffee, and she would spend the day playing worship music. She was also a musician. She was a pianist by trade. That's what she did. So there were lots of, her sitting at the piano and singing hymns. She'd write Bible verses and hang them up on the fridge or hang them up on the mirror. And that was such an incredible example of how, even though she still struggled, and there'd still be the moments where she would rage or feel distraught, there was always a lifeline on the other side to bring her back out of it. And that has been something that I've been able to carry with me through anything that this world throws at me. I'm able to say, okay, I can go back to quiet time, like CJ was talking about. I can go back to the Bible. I can go back to prayer. I can go back to worship music. And I know that that is the lifeline that Jesus has placed to bring us back.
I didn't know that part of your story. I love you as a person, and I feel like I know a lot of your backstory, but I never knew the selective mutism. I think it's so like God, isn't it? To think about like your voice is heard loud and clear by so many now, talking about what a good God we have. And the very way that your mom is a musician, I didn't know that either, but I'm thinking how amazing that like now you're on a worship station and you're not mute. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.